Johnny Fontana, Real World NS Scorpio, back with another video.
Believe it or not, things like intuition are real. And not in the way that they're normally conceived, though. This isn't some kind of supernatural power. In fact, it's very, very scientific, and I can actually teach someone intuition within probably a few months of hanging out with them. So within 30 seconds of talking to somebody, I can probably give you a breakdown of how their life has treated them thus far.
Today I wanted to talk about the differences between INFJ NI users versus other NI users, right? And how INFJs actually shine. And this is not about, again, I know I'm repeating myself and I'm sorry if it's getting like redundant, whoever like the 16 or 5 or 7 viewers watching this. But again, it's not about you relating to me. Like it bothers me. Like it bothers me because it's not about you saying, oh, like there's no point. Like the point of these videos is not to regurgitate information that you already know. It's to provide you context, right? Again, context that you can be like, I see where you're coming from. And then from there, you can then put your own experiences together and then express that to other people and then pass it on from your own experiences. You know what I'm saying to you? And if it's better than mine, then you can bring it back to me. You can email me stuff, whatever. I don't go on comments. I don't read subscribers comments just because I don't get involved in especially when it comes to personality, which is very like, out there. I don't really try to have conversations with people, especially if you're going to sit here and try to tell me that I'm an ISFJ one day, ENFJ one day, and then whatever, then no one can actually come to an agreement on personality or who that person is and why am I going to sit here and have an argument with you or debate personality on which no one can really agree on.
If I have an interaction with Marian and someone else has an interaction with Marian, will I be able to agree with that someone else about who Marian is? If I observe this camera and someone else observes this camera, both of us will agree fully about this camera. We will agree how high the camera is, we will agree about how it looks, we will agree on its size, we will agree on many, many issues. There will be no disagreement between two observers who observe the camera. But if two observers observe a person, if two observers observe another human being, in most cases, they will disagree. They will disagree about everything. They will disagree about the way he looks. They will disagree about his mind. They will disagree about his emotions, his cognitions, his behavior, whether he is pleasant, not pleasant, etc., etc. So I'm asking you again, if two observers look at a human being and they cannot agree on anything, literally, then what do we know about this human being? If there is no agreement in observations, how can there be a science? And that's the problem in psychology. That's one of the problems in psychology. When we observe a personality, when we look at a personality, we cannot agree. This is why, for example, in criminal cases, some psychiatrists testify for the defense and some psychiatrists testify for the prosecution. Both groups of psychiatrists interviewed the same person. Both of them administered the same tests. Both of them had the same conversations. Both of them were trained with the same tradition of learning and scholarship. Yet, they cannot agree. Some of them work for the defense, some of them work for the prosecution. So what kind of science is this? And what is the meaning of identity and personality if we cannot agree what is this identity and personality?
You see what I'm saying to you? So, that being said, the reason why I feel that, again, from a developed, and I'm still developing, but I think because of my experiences, the differences between a developed INFJ using NI versus another NI is our FE. Like, look at this guy right here.
right? So not what you had for breakfast, not what your birthday is, not what your middle name is or anything like that, but I can read what state you're in. I can probably infer how successful you are in life, how much people probably like you, what your thought loops focus on, what you think of yourself, what you think of other people, what you think of the world, etc., etc. So how do I know this? Well, it's no different than how cold readers, aka fake psychics, which is, by the way, an art form that you can actually learn out of books, it's how they can make solid, educated guesses about people by learning about profiles and then combining that with the massive number of reference experiences that they've gained from interacting with people over the years.
So that's why if you go up with, trepidation, anxiety, nervousness, hope it works, they're just going to be, fuck off, dude. Get the fuck away from me. Because why are they there? Are they there to assuage your emotional wounds about getting rejected for the fucking junior high prom? Are they there to help you on your emotional journey to spiritual realization? They're not there. What are they there for? Have fun. Unwind from their stressful work week. Anything that does not contribute to that will be summarily dismissed.
Teaching live programs, I watch student after student interacting with people and getting reactions and responses from the various people they meet. And it's gotten to a point where I can probably read subcommunications better than maybe 99% of the population can. So for example, I can tell you exactly how good a guru is within a few minutes. There's no in-field competition necessary. It's just very, very obvious to me.
You know what I'm saying to you? So like you can tell he comes off very aggressive, very snarky, very condescending at times. So he's definitely not an INFJ or not a intuitive feeler. He's not a feeler, definitely. And that's the difference. Again, I'm providing higher perspective. Yeah, this is basic information, but I'm providing it on a high level because a lot of people don't realize this. Again, because it's not online. This guy obviously said, you know why? Because he's a dating coach. That's why people don't realize. I watch dating videos because he's providing information that has nothing to do with really dating. Yes, it correlates because it connects to actually learning people and understanding moves, in terms of what he says here, in terms of being able to relate to and respond to people's, dialogue. You see what I'm saying to you? So anyone can learn NI, as long as you are around. Like when I was a law enforcement officer in the military, you have profilers, right? FBI profilers, law enforcement, detective profilers. You're supposed to read people. Like you're supposed to be sitting there watching, a potential suspect, watching his movement, watching, his behavior, figuring out where he's gonna go, where his movement is gonna go. When you're, patrolling, and you hear something come, over the radio, you're supposed, that intuition kicks in. Oh, that person probably took that road, or that person took here. That's intuition, right? That's just that understanding of like, yeah, like not having like a written diagram of what's happened, and it's like, hey, my mind is telling me that he's probably going out based on previous experiences that you can then recall today. That's basic information that you all know, okay? But again, what separates us as INFJs is that FE. And the developed ones, not the ones who only talk about the INFJ stare and talk about the INFJ this and what to do if you're depressed and all that stuff. That's all good and great. But how many videos am I going to watch of that? That's not really helping me. That's not profound. I thought INFJs are supposed to be bigger than that. Evidently, most INFJs online are not. I'm not calling you fake. I'm just saying you're underdeveloped. 99% are underdeveloped. Yes, I am coming across a little bit arrogant. You see what I'm saying to you? And it's for a reason. See, I'm giving my secrets away. Like I'm telling you that I'm being arrogant, but I'm also telling you that I'm doing it purposely, that it's deliberate. You see what I'm saying to you? I'm acknowledging that I am, and I'm doing it deliberately so that I can get a response from you.
So people thought we were crazy. But we were like, I work in professional wrestling. We were working the crowd. People latch onto these personalities I've created, which of course are ancillary to my real personality.
Right.
But they don't necessarily want to give me credit that I'm a sort of controller of the forces at play. So if I say something dumb, people assume that I'm dumb. It's hard for them to assume that I'm saying something dumb on purpose because I want a reaction.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying to you? I can elicit a response. Like that's the whole point of the video. The FE. That's why I did that. Like it's pre-calculated. I pre-calculated all of this and knowing that I'm going, and I envisioned that me even saying this. So what happened is that now I can calm down, I can relax, and I can have a regular conversation with you. And that's the difference between, and someone who's a little bit more aggressive and someone who's like a feeler. So you can come talk to me. Like, listen, right now, even though I'm in the state right now, you email me right now, I'll email you back and we'll have a conversation and you can tell me everything and I'll spend hours and even days helping you until you have achieved whatever it is, the results of your angst, of whatever situation that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we have to move forward. So my job is to help you move forward, not help you remain in that space, not sit there and be like, I relate. And that's why I get so upset, because so many people are just relating and they're stuck in that validation mode. You see what I'm saying to you? And here's what he says here.
So when I see somebody who's addicted to negativity, which is very, very, very common, this actually concerns me, because I know that the most positive people are the ones who typically get the most out of a program. So again, when a student enters the room, I know instantly, is this person addicted to positivity or is he not? And if they are, well, guess what? I know that they're gonna have a great time and they're gonna be successful, because their brain is gonna focus on the positive aspects of what they learned. And because of that, they're actually going to be capable of processing the information that they are receiving over the course of the program. So again, ask yourself, am I addicted to positivity or am I addicted to negativity? If you're addicted to being negative, chances are you are getting in your own way. And even if I or anyone else were to hand the answers you're looking for to you on a silver platter, you would still be deadlocked in that stagnant position that your mind is oh so addicted to. Again, see it all the time. So positivity, such a major component of this. If you think that you're gonna master this art while getting to hang on to that cynical, negative outlook you've been harboring, you are probably wrong.
You see what I'm saying to you? But yeah, so what separates us is that we have the ability to take that FE, for good or for worse, right? But really apply it, really hone it in. So yes, so it's like he can figure out like the sensory aspects, right? Of like, okay, I can see what he does for a living. I can see this, whatever. But I can say, okay, well, how are you feeling today? Are you feeling a certain way? I know, okay, this person is doing this, feeling this way. This person is that kind of a personality. I'm going to approach it this way. If he's hyper, let's say I was interacting with him, and I can tell that he's NI in me, I would then put on my ENFJ hat and become a little bit more like aggressive, so that he would not, and he would try to get, and I would have to counter it. Now, when I was young, it was kind of hard to counter it, but after learning and being exposed to a lot of different people and being exposed to a lot of these where people were just challenging me, I learned to sort of like, you see what I'm saying to you? So now people, they may NI me, they may figure me out and do that, but they won't say it, right? Because there's just like something in me where I just don't allow that. So even though they're doing it, but they don't verbalize it, they don't vocalize it. And even if they do challenge it, I pretend as if it's like no sweat off my back. And then I come around and I'll butter their muffler. Right? Not in what do you call that again? Not in a sort of like brown nosing or trying to suck up the people, right? But more of like, just not in a patronizing way, but in a way that I can tap into that and be like, hey, I got you. By the way, how was that? How is this? And then that person becomes just like, they put their guard down. And they're like, oh, I can't believe he asked me about that. Yeah, but it's all pre-calculated. Why? Because I'm not the kind of person to go toe to toe. I don't have that ability. I don't have the capacity to go toe and toe with you because I'm like, dude, like it's just not for me. Some people love it. They live for that. They live for, they want to go toe to toe with people. They love to be challenged, whatever. I just don't have the capacity. I get drained easily. So what I have to do, I have to use manipulation techniques for the good of my, of my health, of my mental state. You see what I'm saying to you? In order to sort of prevent that attack. And they'll try me, and they'll try me, but I'll put up that front, I put up that wall, not a wall in terms of them not approaching me, but that wall in terms of not allowing them to get to me, because then I'll counter it. But I won't counter it with their energy necessarily all the time. Sometimes I will, but I'll counter them with just a little less energy. And then when it's time, I'll come at them when they least know and understand. But however, competency is a big part of it. When these ESTJs, ENFPs, ENTPs are NIing you, you have to demonstrate competency, because if not, they're gonna eat you up. You see what I'm saying to you? But again, that's what the FE comes from. Being able to know, okay, let me see their weakness. Let me see that open spot. Go there. Not how they would go there and attack and try to tear you apart, but go there and try to muffle you. Hey, you all right? I got you. Hey, all right. Oh, by the way, then you switch it up on them, right? That's that FE. Being able to switch it up and go back and forth and whoo, 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 whoo. They're like, dude, like one day he's shy, he's very, calm, he's whatever. And the next thing you know, it's like they'll challenge you. And when they challenge you, you can tell, like, when you step up again, they come back and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have challenged them. Because again, that's the ability that we have, and then they'll come back at you. And then what's weird is that they'll come at you and they'll be all nice and patronizing. And I'm like, dude, like, just be yourself. Like, stop it. It sucks. This whole, especially some women, they do that where they come off very aggressively, and then they come at you, and you're like, and they're like, so you put them back on their heels, and they come back at you. Hey, I was wondering if with that baby voice. I'm like, dude, like, stop. I mean, of course you have to, pretend as if like you know what they're doing, but what you have to pretend as if you don't know what they're doing, and you're just oblivious to it. But reality is like in your mind, it's like, dude, like, stop it. Like, it's not working on me. You see what I'm saying to you? But again, that's that FE. That's the difference between us. Being able to NI, know based on previous experiences and then recalling it, but then being able to apply the FE, the feeling, right? The energy. Being able to sense the energies through our senses, but then using our TI to be able to sort of manipulate our way. So we're not being manipulative in a bad way, but just sort of manipulating so that we can sort of bring peace to ourselves, because if not, we're going to go crazy. You know what I'm saying to you? You know this, right? But again, like in my mind right now, it's like this dissonance of like teaching, providing context, but not coming off as like a know-it-all or an expert, because again, I can't do all this research, provide this information to you, and then be hypocritical and doing all that myself. You know what I'm saying to you? So again, it's just like it's providing better context, and it's not necessarily like to tell you things that you don't already know, but just provide you like higher context, based on my references, based on my like, hey, like, because most people think that only INFJs and NI types lead with NI, and we don't realize that other people do NI as well. And a lot of people, sometimes you get caught up and you're not realizing, and this is the higher place that I'm coming at, is a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, like he's NIing. He's like, so sometimes when you say something to someone and they react and they're like, yeah. And you're like, ooh, that person's listening. He's very observant. But he's not an NINFJ, or he doesn't seem like he leads with NI, because they're good at that. They weren't born with it. They developed it themselves through their own experiences, whether it be by default or through whatever. So for example, me, I've developed my SC by default, by being in the Marines, by being a police officer. Again, not because I wanted to be a police officer, but because that's what I learned as a Marine Corps, as a Marine, and it was just like that's what I needed in order to earn money through benefits and all that stuff, in order to keep myself, my family, afloat in terms of work. But that's also something that I thought I wanted to do, but that's why I ended up getting out. And I work for the government now because that's just not something that I wanted to do long term, because I was just getting drained from that. But yet you had a lot of people who do NI, but it just comes from a different lens. You know what I'm saying to you? So again, but a lot of people don't know that if you're just stuck in your bubble, or if you're just thinking that, NI types, intuitives are the only ones who NI. And when in reality, you have tough folks who actually NI, but they can use it for real damage. You know what I'm saying to you? And like you said, like not a lot of people do it. But you would think, oh, well, the INFJs are the only ones who not a lot of people do it. He's calling it. He's not an INFJ. You can tell he's not an INFJ. So, but a lot of the stuff that he discusses are internal. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't leave with NI. So anyway, and you also remember we talked about the whole engineer, right? The TI. He's averse to TI users. Listen here.
I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to the game, because they think, okay, here are these rules that govern social interaction. And if I learn these rules, I learn these theories, I can protect myself. I can just, go down the flow chart and I'll never have to feel bad ever again. I do get a lot of engineers on boot camp, and I'm sure in some small part that's due to the fact that I live in Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, and there are a lot of engineers here, and that's what attracts them to the game. This idea that it's something they can figure out. It's this puzzle, right? But in reality, game is not some simple arithmetic problem you could just plug quantities into to get a standardized result. An interaction is a living, breathing, dynamic thing where the variables are constantly changing in real time. Look, if every girl in the world behaved in exactly the same way, then sure, Mark's idea of practicing on one girl would work out just fine. But you know as well as I do that that is simply not the case. Look, let me put it this way. In a given interaction, there are an infinite number of actions and reactions that can unfold, right? Within that infinite range, however, generalizations can be made and patterns can be found. And in order to discover these things, you got to have the largest data set that you possibly can. The larger your data set, the more accurate your observations are going to be.
You see what I'm saying to you? So he's aware of that as well. So you call that dynamic? Again, I'm not going to put a personality type to it. Many people will. Oh, he's this or he's that. Oh, well, if you can't agree to what a person is, So, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. So, Johnny Fontana, Real World and Scorpio, we out.